Hello, and welcome to the next episode of the Live Your Spa Life show. Spa life is a lifestyle that accepts that accomplishment and harmony coexist. The Spa and Spa Life, the SPA, is for Seek Power Always, that power within you to do your deeper work in the world. I am so pumped to have our special guest today, Lee Dumas. So many of you know as JLD, the founder and host of the award-winning podcast, Entrepreneurs on Fire, with over 100 million listeners of his 3,000 plus, you heard that, episodes. JLD has turned Entrepreneurs on Fire into a media empire that generates over 1 million listeners every month and 7 figures of net annual revenue for 8 years in a row. His first traditionally published book, The Common Path to Uncommon Success, is available for pre-order now with 5 amazing bonuses at uncommonsuccessbook.com. JDL, let's give a shout out to our Spa Law family and tell us why this book, why now?
What's up, family? Hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for that amazing introduction. So appreciated. So kind of you to have me here. And I'm first and foremost just looking to give value today, to your listeners, to your viewers. I mean, that's really the story of my success. And, we can get to the book. We can definitely chat about it at some point. But I kind of want to even go back and say, it was 2012 for me when I read a quote by Albert Einstein that said, "Try not to become a person of success, but rather a person of value." And that's honestly when I looked in the mirror and I said, I've just been chasing success for the past 32 years of my life, and nothing's been working for me. I've been getting failure after failure, unhappiness, depression, all of those things. But man, when I kind of read that quote, it was like a virtual slap in the face. And ever since then, I looked in the mirror and I said, John, are you delivering value, preferably on a daily basis? And when I said no to that answer to that question the first time, when my answer was no, I knew I had to change that. I looked for what that opportunity was. It happened along the way of a daily podcast called Entrepreneurs on Fire, where for 2,000 days in a row, I interviewed an entrepreneur every single day. That's 5.5 years of a daily podcast release. Then after 5.5 years, I stepped back and now I do 5 episodes per week. So I'm kind of a slacker now. I totally accept that. No big deal. But now I'm at 3,000 episodes. And like you shared, over 100 million listens total. I'm getting over 1.4 million listens every month. And the business is incredibly profitable, which I love talking about as well, which we can get into. It literally is generating over $100,000 of net profit every month for 89 months in a row. We publish all our income reports at eofire.com/income, where we share all the numbers, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. And there's some ugly in there, believe me. Over the 89 months, there is some ugly. But, we fix things, we learn from our mistakes, and we keep driving forward. And as you so kindly mentioned, I spent my entire quarantine of 2020 writing my first traditionally published book. And this is a culmination of those 3,000 interviews that I've done, of my own personal journey of 9 years with Entrepreneurs on Fire, the last 8 consecutive years, making that a 7-figure net profit a year business, and distilling down the fundamentals, the honest to goodness principles that myself and these other 3,000 successful entrepreneurs have in common. There's only a few. There's not that many. Now, by a few, I don't mean there's 3 or 5. There's 17 principles, period, end of story, that we have all gone through on that common path to uncommon success. And that's my lovely golden doodle, Gus. He might say hi every now and then because he gets excited about this book as well. So he might give a little yipper yap every now and then. But that's the point of what this book is about. It's a 17-step roadmap to your version of financial freedom and fulfillment. A 17 chronological step roadmap to financial freedom and fulfillment. This is my life's work to date. I'm only 41 years old. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon, hopefully. But this is my life's work today. This is what I've learned from running the business that I've run for years, and mostly learning from the 3,000 successful entrepreneurs that I've learned from. And these steps are step 1 to step done. If you read this book, apply its principles, you will find your version of uncommon success, period.
I love this. And you share so much with your listeners about, as an entrepreneur, we take risk, right? And that's just part of the journey in being out there. How do you look as far as there's so many different ways to look at risk and which ones you actually do. You talk about the road less traveled is what it is for the entrepreneur. How do you evaluate what risks to take and what not to?
I mean, listen, you need to first and foremost be operating within your zone of fire. And this is the first step. This is literally chapter one, step one. When you're in your zone of fire, any risk you take is a good risk within that zone, within that, perfect fire area that you have created for yourself, because that's a risk you're either going to succeed with, and that's awesome, or fail with and learn from. Like I said, there's plenty of ugly in the past 89 months. Even those months I've been making, I've made over $100,000 a month, which by the way is every single one of those months. There's ugly, because that's just the word. That's the world we live in. So I took risks. They didn't work out. I took other risks. They worked out. The risks that didn't work out, I learned from. The risks that did work out, I learned from. So it's all valuable. It's putting yourself out there. It's getting outside of your comfort zone. And that's what most people don't do, by the way. They just find one thing that's kind of working for them, and they just keep hitting that same hammer, like that same nail with a hammer. It's just bang, 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 bang. And they stay in that comfort zone and they never venture out. They never try new things because they think it's risky or scary, or what if I fail? That's what it's all about. It's about being risky and scary and failing, because you're learning from that, coming back stronger, being anti-fragile and making things happen. So I love taking risks for those reasons. I don't worry, too much about the risk reward, because at the end of the day, I'm going to learn from that risk. I'm not going to, like go and bet it all on black, at a casino. I mean, that's a risk that's outside of my zone of fire. But when it's inside of my zone of fire, I'm taking risks every single day, every single week, every single month. And I'll tell you, when too many days or weeks go by when I can honestly say, what's the risk you've taken? And I can't come up with something quick. It's been way too long, and I've got to really push myself. And frankly, that was the reason why I wrote this book. I mean, I'm 9 years into my business. I've never written a traditionally published book. It's outside my comfort zone. That's why I'm doing it. And that's why I put all of my heart and soul into it. And this is a huge risk, because I could have spent all of these hundreds of hours, probably into the thousands now, on other projects that would have definitely made money, would have definitely done this and definitely done that. But I put it all into this. This is the culmination. And man, I flipping love this book. I love it.
I can't wait to get out. And you talk about being in your zone. And you talk about your greatest strengths as being productivity, discipline, and focus. If you had to choose just one of those, what would you go with?
Productivity. And here's the thing. When you think you're productive, you're probably not. You're just busy. Like you're running around in circles, you're scrolling on Instagram and social media, you're running to the supermarket, you're doing this, and you get back, you're like, oh my God, I did so many things today. I was so productive. It's like, no, you were busy, because productive, and the way that I define the word productive, you are producing the right content. It's that simple. Are you producing the right content? If you're not being productive. And guess what? Are you always producing the right content? No, but you don't have to always be productive in every second of the day, as long as you have time every day where you are being productive. So the first 2 hours of every day for 7 months in a row, January through August, I wrote this book. That was my productive time. I was producing the right content. Right here, right now, you and I talking, this is me producing the right content. So people need to identify, what does being productive look like to you? What does producing the right content mean to you? That's super important. And once you identify that, then you're off to the races. And now that you brought that up, I literally wrote the book on this. This is the Mastery Journal. I published this in 2017, self-published. It's how to master productivity, discipline, and focus in 100 days. This $39 journal is beautiful, faux leather, silver embossed, the whole 9 yards. Nice. It did $300,000 in 33 days. Like, this is how much people knew they needed this product in their life. And it's actually one of 3 that I'm giving away to everybody who pre-orders this book, which we can talk about later. But
yeah, I would love that. Well, one of my favorite questions that you ask people is, what is something that people don't necessarily know about you?
I'm such an open book. I get that question from time to time, and I'm just like, there's just nothing that I hold back. I literally don't. I mean, I love being transparent. I love being open and honest. I love showing it like it is. I love to be imperfect, because that's real, that's human, that's raw. And I do that every single month in super detail on my income reports. Like, we literally take our income reports as an opportunity to be so open, so honest, so transparent, and just really, really go all in on that. We bring our lawyer on to share a legal tip. We bring our CPA on to share a tax tip. So these are super valuable income reports. But again, there's 89 of them we've published since 2012. But I guess I could just kind of go off of, Mr. Barky Pants over there, little Gussie Poo. I know a lot of people don't know that we got that little bundle of joy. I mean, if you follow me on Instagram, obviously but I know most of your audience probably doesn't. So they don't probably know that I have a amazing 10-month-old golden doodle named Gus, and he's the best.
Nice. Well, tell us about your obsession with Elf in keeping you laughing.
So listen, I love Christmas movies. I always have. Whenever December comes, I pretty much use the entire month to, number one, when I'm at my computer, I have Pandora playing Ray Conniff holiday music. I just love Ray Conniff's holiday jams. I grew up with them. My mother always had them on. So to me, that's Christmas. Actually, over here to my left, I have a Maine balsam fir candle to be, always reminding me of the evergreen Maine smell. And because we don't have snow down here in Puerto Rico, obviously, and it doesn't feel very Christmassy down here because it's 82 degrees every single day. I mean, it's paradise. I'm not complaining. But to the point of Elf, I just love watching that Christmas movie every year. All the other ones that I watch are the classics, Miracle on 34th Street, Scrooge, fill in the blank, all the old ones, they're just so good, so classic. And then there's Alf, a one that came out, whatever it was, 15 years ago, but it's just so funny. Like Will Ferrell's humor in that movie, and specifically the part when he comes in. Have you seen the movie?
Yeah.
When he comes in to his father's office, and his father doesn't know it's him, and his father thinks he's a singing telegram. So he's like, all right, sing me a song. And then Will Ferrell sings that song to him. To me, I am not just belly laughing, but there's tears coming down my face. And it's not like laughter comes hard to me. I laugh fairly easily, but there's a lot of times where I'm watching a show with Kate and she's like, why aren't you laughing at this? I'm like, oh, I think it's funny. I'm kind of mentally laughing inside, just not outwardly laughing. But that, I cannot help myself. Holy crap.
And speaking of Kate, congratulations on your engagement.
I put a ring on that finger.
I'm saying after 9 years, why was this the year?
Listen, I don't want to get into super controversial details, but at the end of the day, I don't really believe in marriage unless you're going to start a family. So I believe in marriage when you're going to start a family and have a familial unit. But I mean, I started dating Kate when she was 27 years old. I mean, over the last 10 years, she has changed a lot. I have changed a lot. Luckily, our relationship has got nothing but better and stronger through those 10 years. But what if it didn't? I think people get married so fast while they're still changing and life is going and happening. And now they're like, well, we're stuck, we're married. And, of course you get divorced, but that's the big D word and nobody likes that. So I just think, hey, let's just be a amazing monogamous, exclusive couple and love life and be happy. And if we're going to start a family, let's get married, girl.
I love that. I love the history behind that. That is awesome. So one of the things I love to ask my guests is that because the environments that we create mean something. It's how we are in the bedroom versus the kitchen or the office is completely different. So what's your favorite room in your home and why?
My office. You're looking at it right here. I don't know why. I just love walking into this room. I close that door and man, I am in the zone. I'm doing emails or social media or interviews or working on the business. This is where I wrote the book. I mean, I love this room. I'm hanging out with Gus. He's hanging out on my Chase lounge. I try to sit over there. He growls at me. He's like, no, this is my chair. I'm like, okay, so I'll lay on the floor. No big deal. I got you. I just love this room. This is my favorite room. I love every room in my house for different reasons, but this would be number one.
Nice. And, for our entrepreneurs who are out there, how have they been lied to by the experts?
You've been lied to. Let me just not mince words here. You have been lied to. People want you to think the path to success is scary, that it's hidden, that it's secrets, but they will unlock the door for you for $1,997.97. We've all seen it. And believe me, listen, I'm not against selling products and services. I've been selling Podcasters Paradise for $1,000 a year, forever. But I mean, it's not I'm saying this is, a hidden secret. I'm saying if you want to learn how to create a podcast, this is where you go. That's it. And I just see the ways that other people market to the masses, and it's just lying. It's flat out lying, because the reality is I've not only been running my successful business for 9 years in a row, I've interviewed those 3,000 plus successful entrepreneurs we've talked about a few times. I've seen the 17 common principles that we all have implemented in our business. And it's simple. It's clear. It's not easy. It is not easy to achieve your version of uncommon success. If it was easy, it wouldn't be worth it because everybody would have it and it would just be nothing. Like it wouldn't even mean anything. It is a very like working hard path. Like this is a path you will be working hard on for sure. But now that I've literally put it down into a book and created this 17-step roadmap, you need to start at step 1. Even if you look at the table of content shows you the 17 steps. Even if you're like, oh, I feel like I'm at step 11 right now, you might be, but you need to start at step 1 to either confirm and validate that the fact that you got that step right, or learn some things, which you will in every single chapter, and make some pivots and tweaks and adjustments to make sure that you've now got your first 10 steps really dialed in correctly, so that when you get to the step 11 you think you're on right now, you're ready to go. And that is the whole process. So the common path to uncommon success, it is a straight path. Like it is a path that I've laid out in 17 chronological steps for you. There's no more need to be lied to. There's no more need to go and buy that $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 course that promises to unveil the secrets, because there are no secrets. It's all here. It's all in front of you. But instead of going and listening to 3,000 of my episodes and trying to distill it on your own, just get the book, read the book, spend $17. And, as we mentioned earlier, there's so many amazing bonus no-brainers. I mean, you get shipped to your door, my podcast journal, shipped to your door. This is how to create and launch your podcast in 50 days for free. You get that mastery journal we talked about. And you also get my best-selling freedom journal, accomplish your number 1 goal in 100 days. This is a beautiful full leather journal as well. And if you're in the US, we are shipping all 3 of those to your door for a $17 pre-order on Amazon. Like we're literally losing money on every single book, but listen, look at my income reports. I'm not doing this book for the money. That's already been taken care of. This is for impact. This is to help you in your life, period. And there's 4 other bonuses we won't even talk about, but if they visit uncommonsuccessbook.com, which you mentioned in the intro, right. uncommonsuccessbook.com, you can watch a video of the book, check out the bonuses. I have endorsements, by the way, from Seth Godin, Gary Vaynerchuk, Neil Patel, Dory Clark, Eric and Mandy. They are fantastic entrepreneurs. Super proud of their endorsements. I just went all in on this.
Nice. I love this so much. You have like the 17 chapters, and is there anything specific that you want to talk about in any one of those chapters?
Well, let's quickly go over chapter 1, just because that's where so many people.
That's where you got to start.
That's where you got to start. And that's where so many people have started incorrectly. And that's okay, because it's not too late to go back. And you can just make, again, tweaks, pivots, and adjustments. Some people are going to just have to throw away the old model and start over. And that's fine too, because that's kind of exciting. Now you know you're on the right path. But your big idea, are you really living in your big idea? Are you living every single day in your zone of fire? The answer is probably your audience. Most of them are really, really close to there or there. But there's things they need to really nail down if they're going to absolutely live in their zone of fire every single day. So each chapter is broken up into 3 sections. Section 1, I teach you how to identify your zone of fire or confirm and validate it if you think you're already there. There's templates, there's exercises. It's laid out for you step by step. I mean, this is the one-stop shop for you. Then section 2 of that chapter is I tell you how I came up with my big idea, how I applied it to my business, and how I turned it into a success. So you get a real world example. And then section 3 of 3, there's 3 sections. I sat down, I said, of the 3,000 people I've interviewed, who's the best example of coming up with their big idea that they could share their perspective? And for that specific chapter, Hal Elrod, The Miracle Morning. This guy has changed millions and millions and millions of people's lives with one idea. Change your morning, make your morning a miracle. And I don't want to say it's a simple process, but it's 6 principles, and you follow these 6 principles and your morning is changed, and therefore for a lot of people, their lives. And so I brought him in. He shares amazing stuff in that, his perspective. And then all 17 chapters have that. Section 1, section 2, section 3. So I brought in, Pat Flynn, Amy Porterfield, Selena Sue, Russell Brunson, Jeff Walker, Amit Sethi, just ballers across the board. Stu McLaren, like just top-notch entrepreneurs to add their contribution to this book. So very passionate about that. And that's just step one. And that's where people need to start.
So, and those 17 steps are amazing, but I don't want to forget the 18th chapter, which I can't wait to see. Is like the well of knowledge that has like all of like the inspirational quotes and things that are in there. What is your favorite quote in there, and the one that you go back to over and over again?
Oh, well, first off, I love that you brought that up. That just shows that you're good at what you do. You do your homework. And so real quick, there's 17 steps in the common path to uncommon success. It is a roadmap of 17 steps. The final chapter is Keep the Money You Make, which is chapter 17, where I talk about how to actually keep the money that you're now making because you followed the first 16 steps. And then chapter 18, as at the end of this book, I called it the well of knowledge. And that's exactly what it is. It's meant for when you're having a down day or you need a little dose of inspiration or motivation. You go and you just dip your ladle into the well of knowledge and you just pull out just one or two passages. It's not meant to be read through like right away. Like that chapter is not meant to be read from start to finish. It's meant to go there and just dip your ladle into that well of knowledge, get inspired by one or two passages, and just go. And, really my honest favorite quote, to answer your question directly, is that Albert Einstein quote I shared at the beginning. But I'm just going to pull out a sample one. I just went to a random page and I'll read one right now. Let me go a little bit earlier here. Okay. People do not decide their futures. They decide their habits, and their habits decide their futures. F.M. Alexander. And then I actually go below that and I give you my thoughts on that quote and how it should relate to you. So I kind of expound upon that quote. But that's just a great one because listen, don't worry about deciding your future. If you just decide on a great habit you're going to implement tomorrow and you implement that habit that you implement is going to change your day, change your week, change your month, change your life, change your future. That's the mindset shift that quote's meant to give.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is a habit of yours that has made the most ripple effect in your life?
It's definitely my morning routine. I give a hat tip to Hal Elrod. Like I don't follow his specific morning routine, step by step, but a lot of those principles I have in there. And it's just, I have my first 90 minutes of the day are locked in. It's all about health, wellness, nutrition, meditating, journaling, being outside in the sun, in those first 90 minutes of every day. All these things are part of it. And they're non-negotiables. And so no matter what happens the rest of the day, the day can get spin out of control. I've crushed my morning, and that is so huge.
Nice. Well, I want you to remind our audience again about how they can get the book and how they can stay in contact with you.
Well, first off, thank you. Much appreciated. My podcast is Entrepreneurs on Fire, over 3,000 episodes. If you want to check it out, please do. We are always releasing 5 episodes per week with amazing, amazing guests. And eofire.com is just my main website where you can learn more. But the big call to action today is get this book pre-ordered. It doesn't launch till March 23rd, but don't wait because all of those bonuses we've talked about, you get when you pre-order. They all disappear the day that the book launches because we're pushing pre-orders. And frankly, when the book goes live, I can't afford, when everybody's buying it, I can't afford to keep doing these pre-order things because we're shipping all 3 of my journals to your door if you're based in the US. And by the way, we will be pulling that one soon because we're already getting to over, we're into the thousands right now of journal trios we've shipped. And so, there's only so many we can do with that. And then there's 4 other amazing bonuses that you can check out at uncommonsuccessbook.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. And our theme for this year is being a force for good in the world. Mm-hmm. So, John, I'd love for you to share, how are you being a force for good?
With a ripple effect. My podcast is listened to in 145 countries around the world. Right now, somebody's in a country I've never heard of listening to my podcast, and probably nothing that I've said, but something that my guest has said is inspiring them right now. And they're going to go off and do something they otherwise would not have done and inspire an entire village or town or movement internationally. And then those people that they're inspiring are going to go off and do amazing things. And it's that ripple effect, that waterfall, that 3rd, 4th, 5th degree of separation. That's what it's all about.
I love it. Love it so much. Definitely, listeners, go out and grab that book today. Make it happen. Thank you, John, again for all of your wisdom. Mwah. And to all of our listeners out there, this is the positive message we want to get out of the world. John has made this a no-brainer. He's distilled all of the wealth of information for entrepreneurship out there. Grab this book today. And if you have any questions, make sure you put in the comments. Myself and John will be happy to answer any of those. And until we connect again, live your spa life. Bye for now. Bye.